Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Tuesday, March the 28th. We got a 6-game slate for Tuesday, guys. As always, we're going to go game by game, give you a quick breakdown of this 6-game slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Monday night. But as always, before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and if you guys are new to the channel, if you've never checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. You can use my promo code NOAH. When you sign up, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. And for those of you that have never heard about PrizePicks, you don't know what they are a player prop site. Very simple, very easy to use. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks. You can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. You can see they have a few props posted for Tuesday's games, but not a ton is on the board right now. That's just because I'm making this video on Monday night. But if you take a look at the board again sometime on Tuesday, you'll see a ton of props from every category, from every game. And again, if there's anything that stands out to you, you just take more or less. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks, but again, you can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So check them out, guys. Use that promo code NOAH. When you sign up, get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through this Tuesday slate. 6-gamer. We'll start off with the first game of the night, the Celtics and the Wizards. So for the Wizards today, once again, they're going to be without Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma. Now, this matchup against Boston is not great, but I have a feeling we're probably going to want to look at some Wizards today just because they are going to be shorthanded again. Plus, Monte Morris and Daniel Gafford are questionable too. Monte Morris was out last game. We'll have to see if he plays here, and then Gafford's questionable as well. So this will be pretty important to keep an eye on. I don't know what they'll do with the starting lineup if Gafford's out. I think they could just start Porzingis at center, but maybe they start like Taj Gibson or something. I don't really know. Maybe they start Anthony Gill. But I think Porzingis would get a little boost if Gafford's out. If Monte Morris is out again, that would definitely benefit DeLon Wright the most. DeLon Wright would probably start again, 5,400. Not super cheap on DeLon Wright, not the best matchup either, but I think he would definitely be playable if Monte Morris remains out. And then obviously, the offense is going to continue to run through Porzingis. I mean, Porzingis the last few games without Beal and without Kuzma, he's not been great. This matchup against Boston is not great either. I think this game does have a little bit of blowout risk. But the offense is going to run through Porzingis. He's going to have great usage here. As long as the game is competitive, he should play pretty big minutes. So I think Porzingis is definitely playable. Not a priority for me, though. Deni Avdija continues to be really good without Beal and Kuzma, playing big minutes right now. Production's been great. He's always been a relatively productive player when he gets minutes, and he's one of these guys that can do everything when he's on the floor. He can score, rebound, get assists. He has a lot of ways that he can acquire fantasy points. Again, the matchup's not great. The price tag feels about right, but I still think Deni Avdija is a playable option. And then as we mentioned, if Monte Morris is out, we could look to DeLon Wright. If Daniel Gafford's out, I don't know if that really opens up much value, but if anything, that just makes Porzingis a little bit better. Don't see too much else I'm really liking on the Wizards here. So I think we can go ahead and talk about the other side of this game now with Boston. And for the Celtics, it's a pretty good matchup here against Washington. Washington's defense has not been great. I think this is definitely a good spot for both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown getting really closely priced to Tatum now. Tatum 10,400, Brown 9,900. Whenever these guys are closely priced, I usually always prefer Tatum just because, this season and throughout his career, Tatum has been a better per-minute producer than Jaylen Brown. But we've seen Jaylen Brown flash a ton of upside, and he could definitely outscore Tatum any given night. But between the two, I do give a slight edge to Tatum over Brown here if I just had to choose between the two. I think both are in play, but I would rather go to Tatum. And then the other Celtics, a lot of these guys did get priced up for when Tatum was out last game. So, like, Derek White is 6,700. Brogdon 5,900, Smart 5,700. I really don't like the guards here. I think it's just, the two J's I'm looking at, Tatum and Brown. Again, prefer Tatum if I'm choosing between those two. Don't see too much else on Boston that really stands out. So I think that'll do it for this game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Miami and Toronto. So for Toronto today, they're pretty much fully healthy now. They still might not have Gary Trent. Gary Trent, I think, is questionable for this game. But we did see Preston Achiuwa return last game. We did see Scotty Barnes return last game. With Toronto having most of their guys back and this being a matchup against Miami that I don't really like to target, I don't see myself getting too heavily invested in Toronto here. We know this Toronto team, as long as the game is competitive, they're going to play their guys big minutes. So that's always a plus with Toronto. But again, the matchup's not great. The price tags on all these guys feel correct. 9,200 for Siakam, 9K for Van Vliet, 7K for Pirtle. Those price tags feel right to me. OG and Scotty Barnes, I think, are priced about right. Scotty Barnes at 6,200 feels a little cheap. He played 32 minutes in his first game back from injury, put up 35 DK points, was relatively productive. We've seen Barnes be priced like in the 7K range for most of the season. I think 6,200 might be a little bit too cheap for Scotty Barnes here. Maybe he would be the first guy I would look to on Toronto, but I really am not interested in many Raptors today. They feel priced right, and the matchup, again, is not the best. Now, on the Miami side, it's kind of the same thing. I really don't like to target this Toronto team. Toronto team's good defensively. Both these teams play relatively slow, so I think in general this is going to be kind of a slow-paced, lower-scoring game. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, obviously these guys all have upside, and they're all guys that can put up big games any night. But when you look at the price tags for Butler, 8,700, Bam 7,500. I think Bam would probably be my favorite of the Miami guys. 7,500 does feel a little bit too cheap for Bam. I know Bam has not been that great the last few games, but he's one of these guys that can have those, he can just pop off any night. He can put up 45, 50 DraftKings points any night. It's tough to tell when that's going to happen, but with the price tag coming down, I think Bam is intriguing at 7,500. But that's really it from Miami, man. I really don't like any other Heat today. Max Strus, Kevin Love, Lowry, none of these guys look that great. This is not a very appealing game, to be honest with you, but there's a couple of guys I could see taking some shots on in GPPs. No standout plays, no core plays, though, coming from this game. So let's move on to the next one, Cleveland and Atlanta. And man, this is another game, especially on the Atlanta side. I really don't like much on Atlanta here. Cleveland, not a team I really like to target. Cleveland's a good defensive team. They play slow. I don't think it's the greatest matchup for Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, but these are guys that it doesn't matter if it's a tough matchup or not. They can put up a big game any night. But Trae Young in this spot against Cleveland, I'm not super interested in. I think Trae feels priced about right at 9,100. He's playable, but not a priority for me. DeJounte Murray at 7,600, again, feels priced where he should be. Not the greatest matchup against Cleveland. I think he's playable, but not a priority for me. Clint Capella, he's one of these guys that as long as the minutes are there, the production's going to be there. And we have seen his minutes kind of trend back up lately. Last 3 games, 29, 30, and 29 minutes. It feels like, it feels like when I play Capella, he plays 25 minutes, and then every other night he plays 30. If he gets 30 minutes, even against Cleveland, I think Capella has the upside to put up a good game at 6K if the minutes are there. It's just, man, it's so tough to predict when he's going to get the minutes. Some nights he'll play 25, some nights he'll play 30. There's been some nights where he's played over 30 minutes. Not a priority option, but still a viable GBP play. John Collins, his minutes have kind of been more secure lately. He's been playing about 30 minutes a night, but it's at 5,200 in a matchup against Cleveland. I think he's priced where he should be. And the rest of Atlanta, I don't really have a ton of interest in. So let's move on to the other side of this game now with Cleveland. And for Cleveland here, it's a really good spot for Cleveland. Atlanta's defense has not been that great lately. Atlanta's been playing at a fast pace. So there's definitely some guys I like on this Cleveland team. I think Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Mobley specifically at 8,100, he feels priced where he should be. But the matchup is really good here. Atlanta's a team you can definitely beat with bigs. They don't really have the best defense overall. We've seen a lot of fours do really well against Atlanta this season. I think Atlanta's given up the second most fantasy points per game to power forwards for what it's worth. So really good spot for Mobley. Just the price tag at 8,100 doesn't make him a priority for me. I think Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland both look pretty solid here. Mitchell's 8,600. We haven't really seen Mitchell show much of a big ceiling lately. The last time he put up over 50 DraftKings points was March the 10th. It's been almost 3 weeks since he's had over 50 DK points. This does feel like one of those spots where we could get a big ceiling game from Mitchell. At 8,600, he's fine to go to. I probably would rather take the savings, though, and play Darius Garland. Garland only 7,400. We know as long as the game's competitive, we're getting big minutes from Garland. I think the matchup's really good for him. I like, this is a big-time pace-up spot for Cleveland. Both the guards for Cleveland are intriguing here. I'd give a slight lean to Garland, though, over Mitchell, given the savings. And then Jared Allen is questionable, so this will be something to keep an eye on. Obviously, if Jared Allen is out, that benefits a guy like Evan Mobley. At 8,100, I'd be more okay stomaching that price tag for Mobley if there's no Allen. But again, if Allen plays, I have a tough time paying 8,100 for Mobley. And then if Allen is out, you'll probably see more minutes for Karis LeVert. I know the games where Allen's been out, they were starting Lamar Stevens. I don't think Lamar Stevens is going to really be a viable cheap option. He is really cheap, but he's just not the best permanent producer. The guy that I think would definitely benefit most would be Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert would pick up a lot of minutes off the bench. We saw him close a lot of the games that Jared Allen was out. So he would be someone you could target for value if there is no Jared Allen. And then if Jared Allen does play, he's only 6,800, not super expensive. He's been good in the games he's played since coming back from injury. The minutes have also been really good, and I think this matchup against Atlanta is really good. So I don't mind Jared Allen here at 6,800. Definitely want to target this Cleveland team, though. Really good matchup for them against Atlanta, and I think there's a lot of ways you could see multiple guys come out here and do well against this Atlanta team. So that's what I like for that game. Let's move on to the next game, Charlotte and OKC. So for OKC today, potentially no SGA. We'll have to wait and see if SGA plays today. SGA is listed as questionable for this game. So this will be really big news to keep an eye on. Obviously, the matchup here against Charlotte is really, really good. I mean, Charlotte's a team that plays relatively fast. They don't have the best defense overall, although their defense, I think, has been a little bit better lately. Still a really good spot for SGA if he's able to play. I think he would be one of the best pay-up options on the slate at 10K. Love the spot for him. Love the pace of this game. This should be a really high-scoring, fast-paced game. So I'm definitely interested in SGA if he's able to go. If SGA doesn't play, then we can look to Josh Giddey. We can look to Jalen Williams. We can look to Lou Dort. Giddey is not like super cheap, but I think 8,200, I'd be okay paying this price tag for Giddey if there is no SGA, just because without SGA, the offense is going to be able to run more through Giddey. We've seen like triple-double upside from Giddey. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet when he's on the floor, so he would definitely be in play. Jalen Williams would definitely be in play as well. We've seen him be really good in the games that he's played without SGA this season. Great matchup. I'd be fine going to Jalen Williams, even at 6,700. If there's no Shea. And then Lou Dort at 5,400 I think would be a pretty good value play if Shea's out. We've seen Lou Dort pick up more usage without SGA. He's really cheap. Great matchup obviously for him. So those are kind of the guys I'd be looking to first. And then we would get some value from OKC, probably with Isaiah Joe. A lot of the games that SGA was out earlier this season, Isaiah Joe started in. So I would assume Isaiah Joe would start here if Shea's out. And at 4,400, he would be a pretty decent value play today. I think he would be someone that I'd have interest in. The rest of OKC, though, tough to really go to anyone else just with how this team really spreads out the minutes with their bench guys. It's a really good matchup for Jalen Williams for the center because we've seen Charlotte be so bad defensively against centers this season. You just never really know how many minutes Jalen Williams is going to play. Some nights he'll play like 26, 28. Some nights he'll get benched and play like 14 minutes. He's worth a shot at 4K as a dart throw. But again, the guys I just talked about, that's kind of the guys I'm really looking to from this OKC team. Now, on the other side with Charlotte, Charlotte's going to be short-handed here. No Terry Rozier. Gordon Hayward, I believe, is doubtful. And then Kelly Oubre is questionable. So these are all going to be injuries to keep an eye on, specifically Oubre. Without Terry Rozier, we're seeing Dennis Smith Jr. start at point guard. He's been playing relatively good minutes. Production's been pretty solid. The price tag has gotten up to 7K. So I think it's 7K. I'm not like running to roster Dennis Smith Jr. today, but I think he would be a playable option, especially if if Oubre's out, I would feel a little bit better about him. Same with PJ Washington. PJ Washington obviously taking on a really big role right now, but he is 7,800. I mean, it's hard to really stomach clicking PJ Washington at nearly 8K, but you look at the production lately, 46 and 48 Draftkings points. I mean, he's been justifying this price tag. Obviously there's plenty of usage available for him right now. The minutes have not been as high as I would like. He's only been playing about 30 minutes. I would like to see him play 35, 36 minutes before I pay nearly 8K for him. But I think PJ Washington is at least playable just because the offense is really going to run through him and Dennis Smith Jr. and some of these other guys like Kelly Oubre, for example, if he plays. Really like Kelly Oubre here just because I'd assume he would have the big role without Terry Rozier, without Gordon Hayward. I assume if he plays, he's going to play normal minutes. So Oubre would probably be my favorite play from Charlotte if he's able to play today. And then there's no Mark Williams, so we should see Nick Richards slide back into the starting lineup. Although last game, Nick Richards picked up a DNP. I don't even think he played last game. They went with Kai Jones as the backup center. I'm guessing they go back to Nick Richards here. Maybe they were planning on sitting out Mark Williams for this game, so they wanted Richards to be fresh, so that's why they sat Richards. I'm guessing it'll be Richards that starts again, and Richards is only 4,700. That's really, really cheap for Nick Richards, a guy that's been a really good permanent producer. Great matchup here against an OKC team that really struggles to rebound. So I really like Nick Richards for value today. I think he's one of the better value plays on the slate, assuming that he does wind up starting here. By some chance, if they start Kai Jones, then yeah, we could look to Kai Jones. He's super cheap. He's minimum salary. But I'm assuming it'll be Richards that slides back into the starting lineup. So that's kind of what I'm liking for that game. Definitely one of the more appealing games to target on the slate. Two teams that play fast. Charlotte defensively not been great, so this is going to be a game we want to get some exposure to for sure. I think that does it, though, for Charlotte. I think we kind of talked about everyone that's really playable. I mean, Svi Mykhailiuk's been starting lately. Don't think we really need to go there at 4,900, but I guess he's playable. I don't think there's anyone else on this Charlotte team, though, worth mentioning. So let's move on to the next game, talk about Orlando and Memphis. So for Memphis today, John Morant, we saw made his return a few games ago. He's been playing off the bench. He moved into the starting lineup last game. But he's going to be out today is what the plan is. He's going to be doubtful is what they said. So Ja Morant doubtful for today, not expected to play. So with Ja Morant doubtful, we're going to go back to the guys that we kind of were playing when Ja was out. Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Tyus Jones. These are the guys that are really going to benefit. Even Dillon Brooks as well. Triple J is 8,300, so I don't think Triple J at this price tag is like a slam dunk or anything, but I think he's definitely playable. We've seen him be great in the games without Ja this season. Usage has been really good, so I'm fine going to Triple J today. I think Desmond Bane at 7,300 looks really good. He was priced kind of in the upper 7K range for a lot of the games that Ja was out. Now he's priced in the lower 7K range. Definitely think he looks pretty good here at 7,300. And then Tyus Jones, probably the best play on the slate at 5,300. He obviously is way too cheap here with Ja doubtful. He should slide back into the starting lineup, play big minutes, and we saw him be priced like around 7K for the games Ja was out. Now he's back down to 5,300. Really, really good play here in Tyus Jones. Probably going to be chalky, but just chalk that I think I'd be fine eating. And then the rest of Memphis, like Xavier Tillman, he's playable at 5,100. We did see him get back up to 31 minutes last game. The games before that, though, his minutes were kind of trending down. If you told me we were going to get 31 minutes again from Xavier Tillman, I would like him quite a bit. I don't know if that happens, but if he does play 30-plus minutes, I think he's okay at 5,100. I think Dillon Brooks with Ja doubtful looks a little bit more appealing at 5K. Even in the games Ja was out, Dillon Brooks was not like great or anything, but he was better than what he has been lately. And at 5K, if we're looking for some value, I don't mind going to Dillon Brooks here. But that's really it from Memphis. Nothing else looks that great on this team. So let's move on to the other side of this game now with Orlando. And for the Magic here, I don't know if this is a spot where I really want to be going to many Magic guys. The matchup against Memphis, I don't really like to target. I think this game has a little bit of blowout risk. So these Orlando guys are not like super appealing to me. They also feel priced where they should be. Paulo Banchero is 7,200. Fultz is almost 7K. Wendell Carter Jr. 6,700. Franz Wagner 6,400. We have seen some good games from Franz Wagner lately. He had a really big game last game. Put up 44 DK points in 32 minutes. He's shown a better ceiling lately, and the production has been better from Franz Wagner. So, I don't hate him at 6,400. Markelle Fultz has flashed some upside. He feels priced about right, though, at 7K. Not a priority for me. Wendell Carter Jr., I don't mind in this spot. Memphis has been vulnerable against bigs lately, and we've seen them really struggle on the glass. Clint Capella had a really, really big game against Memphis on Sunday. So I don't mind the spot for Wendell Carter Jr. I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. These guys all feel priced kind of where they should be. I mean, none of these Orlando guys stand out as priority plays today. You're just kind of looking at like some GBP options. Nothing from the bench I really want to go to. It's really just, the main four guys like Paulo, Fultz, Carter Jr., Wagner. With Jalen Suggs back, I don't really have a ton of interest in Cole Anthony. So that's really it from Orlando. Not a team I have a ton of interest in today. I think we can go ahead and move on to the last game of the night, Golden State and the Pelicans. So for Golden State today, pretty sure there's no injury news here besides, Draymond's probable, Jordan Poole's probable, and I think Andrew Wiggins maybe has a chance to return soon. Don't know yet, but I don't think he's going to be back for this game. So for Golden State here, I mean, pretty decent spot against the Pelicans in what should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game. So I think a guy like Steph Curry as a tournament play definitely makes some sense. I have no issue going to Curry here at 9,600. Probably would rather target like SGA if we're talking about pay-up options. Him or Curry, I would prefer SGA. But I think Curry's fine at 9,600. I think he's definitely in play. Clay, Draymond, where they're priced at, I wouldn't consider them priority. Same for a guy like Jordan Poole. I mean, there's not too much that stands out in Golden State besides like Curry as a tournament play. You could always go to Draymond or Clay in GPPs, but that's just, that's all they are for me is like GPP options, not, priority options. And I think that's it for Golden State. I mean, we saw like Jordan Poole have a big game off the bench recently. He's had a couple big games off the bench lately. If you want to take a shot on Poole, hope that he has another good game off the bench, I guess you could. But again, he's nothing more than like a GPP option. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with the Pelicans. And for the Pelicans, they're on a back-to-back, but I think for the most part, we should expect them to have everyone available here. Brandon Ingram coming in at 8,800. I think Brandon Ingram's pretty solid here against Golden State. I think this matchup for him is pretty good, and we've seen Ingram play massive minutes lately. Last few games have been blowouts, but in the competitive games Ingram has played in, he's been playing like almost 40 minutes, and I think this game against Golden State should be competitive. Should be a really fast-paced, high-scoring game, so I'm definitely interested in Brandon Ingram as a pay-up option here. Don't mind CJ McCollum either, but I think you get a little bit of a higher ceiling from Ingram. Jonas Valanciunas' minutes have been much more secured lately. We're seeing him play 30-plus minutes a night. I don't love this matchup against Golden State. I think this is a spot that you could see J-Val's minutes get cut a little bit. I definitely think this game could go small. But if J-Val continues to play 30-plus minutes, he's got the upside to pay off this price tag. And we've seen, based on his box score lately, I mean, he can put up 50-plus when the minutes are there. So I don't mind going to J-Val as a GBP option. Nothing else from the Pelicans, though, looks that great. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, these guys all feel pressed correctly. Definitely my favorite play on this team is for sure Brandon Ingram. But that'll do it for that game, guys. That'll do it for this 6-game Tuesday night slate. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I hope it did help. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you guys are new to the channel, you haven't checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. You can use my promo code NOAH. If you look at the bottom of the screen, when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. Definitely check them out. If you have not yet, use that code when you sign up. Make sure to get your deposit bonus. But that's all that I got for tonight's slate, guys. Wish you the best of luck on this one, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.